Dobro jutro. Good morning, everyone. I'm afraid to admit that's all I can manage in Serbian. And I do hope they all said very nice things about me because I didn't understand how they introduced me. But good morning. My name is Marika Konings. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. I serve as the lead for the new gTLD program at ICANN, or the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. I'm from the Netherlands, but based in ICANN's office in Brussels. Now that you know a little bit about me, I hope to get to know you a little bit better as well, although I have a little bit of a hard time seeing everyone here from stage. But can you do me a favor and please raise your hands if you're from Serbia? Ah, well, good mix. Who from you is from Belgrade? And fun fact, it's my first time here. So I've been very impressed so far. Thank you. How many of you have ever heard of ICANN before? Not too many. Some of you have been to an ICANN meeting, maybe? Very few hands. Well, then the last question, has any of you read the 2026 round applicant guidebook? Well, then I think you're in the right place. Otherwise, I probably would have had to send you out because it would be very boring for you to hear me talking. So thanks for indulging me and sharing so that I know my audience a little bit better and I can hopefully share some insights with you that are new and interesting. And thank you to the organizers for inviting me to talk about this exciting opportunity for businesses, communities, and others to apply to operate a customized domain extension. This opportunity is being offered through the new gTLD program 2026 round, which is expected to open for applications on the 30th of April 2026. So for the few of you that are familiar with ICANN, this program represents the implementation of recommendations that were developed by the ICANN community with the objective of fostering diversity, encouraging competition, and enhancing the utility of the domain name system, or DNS. So before we dive into the details, we're going to kick things off with a little video.
Your organization taking full advantage of all the internet has to offer? Join the hundreds of organizations that have claimed their own piece of the internet by operating a top-level domain. A TLD is the part of an internet address that comes after the last dot. For example, in the domain name icann.org, the characters ORG represent the TLD. A TLD is not the same as a domain name, which includes everything before and after the dot. And now, for the first time in more than a decade, organizations and other entities have a chance to apply for their own generic TLD through ICANN's new gTLD program. gTLDs are unique digital assets that can be used in meaningful and innovative ways. There are several varieties of gTLDs, each with its own purpose and advantages. A brand gTLD can help businesses and organizations enhance their online presence or build a secure space for the use of their customers, employees, and partners. Operating a gTLD can give users added confidence in its security and legitimacy, strengthening trust in the organization. Cities and regions can use gTLDs to showcase their distinctive cultures and landscapes on the world stage. These geographic name gTLDs can also be used to provide citizens with public utilities, email, financial services, and more. Community gTLDs can be established for use by members of a specific cultural, language, or professional group, or by those who share a common interest. There's even an opportunity to register an internationalized domain name, or IDN, that welcomes your customers or citizens in their own local language and script, be it Cyrillic, Devanagari, Han, or more than 24 others. While anyone can register a domain name, operating a gTLD is more complex. A gTLD is an internet registry, a key part of the internet ecosystem. It requires significant financial investment, technical expertise, and the ability to meet rigorous operational standards. As a registry operator, you maintain all of the domain names registered under the top-level domain, giving you more control of the characters to the left and right of the dot. ICANN has a comprehensive process to assess and approve new registry operators and will begin accepting applications for new gTLDs in April 2026. If your organisation would like to explore applying for and operating a gTLD, the Applicant Guidebook is a great starting point. To learn more, visit newgtldprogram.icann.org.
Thank you, and thank you to the team in the back for getting the audio to work. So the internet is built on opportunity, and today the opportunity is arguably greater than ever. On the 30th of April 2026, the 2026 round will open for businesses and organizations to apply to operate a new generic top-level domain, or gTLD. This round is a significant step to further expand the domain name system and to help the internet work for you. The 2026 round marks the first time that entities can apply for a TLD in over a decade. The last time this opportunity was available was back in 2012. Through that round, more than 1,200 TLDs were added to the domain name system. The new TLDs stemming from that opportunity represent companies like .Microsoft, geographies like .London, or even generic terms like .security, and all are being used in different ways. Now we're going to dive into what a gTLD can maybe do for you. So for businesses and brands, operating your own gTLD can be an important aspect of your digital strategy. Last May, ICANN conducted a global survey of chief marketing officers, digital marketing and brand directors, and others across 8 countries to better understand their digital strategies, challenges, and priorities. The survey helped us build a clearer picture of the evolving digital marketing landscape and where gTLDs could fit within it. According to those surveyed, increasing brand awareness and visibility is the #1 priority for marketing leaders, with more than half citing this as their primary focus. Next in line were improving customer retention and loyalty and expanding into new markets. We also wanted to understand the top challenges facing marketing and business leaders today. According to those surveyed, they are looking to stand out from competitors, attracting and engaging the right audience, and keeping pace with digital trends. So how can gTLDs address some of these challenges and help brands and businesses take advantages of all the internet has to offer? A new gTLD can be an innovative tool for commerce and communication. Businesses in specific sectors, countries, or niche markets can use them to create an exclusive, descriptive, and memorable label on the internet. A custom gTLD can give your organization greater control over your online presence, while also increasing brand recognition through your URLs. A gTLD enables the operator to control the domain names under the TLD, including everything to the left of the dot. This can give your employees or other users an extra measure of confidence in your site's security and legitimacy, which can build trust. It can help reduce cases of online phishing, spam, malware, and other forms of cybercrime. Operating a gTLD can also create a revenue stream through the sale of second-level domain names. In other words, allowing the public to register domain names using your gTLD. On the next slide, we see a quick snapshot of some of the top global brands who use their custom TLDs today. But gTLDs are not just for brands and businesses. They can also be used by communities who want to strengthen their online presence. A community gTLD is reserved for the exclusive use of members of that specific community. That could be a group of professionals who all share the same credential. .lawyer is an example that comes to mind. But a community could also serve as a platform for like-minded individuals and organizations. For example, .eco was created to serve the global environmental community for businesses, individuals, and nonprofits committed to helping our planet. Another example is .lat, which was established for the Latin American communities and internet users worldwide. Many new gTLDs operating today reflect geographies, spotlighting regions and cities around the world. Large cities like Berlin, London, and Paris use gTLDs to promote the unique lifestyle and culture of their metropolitan areas and to build an online community for their citizens, wherever they may be in the world. They also used by regions interested in asserting uniqueness, promoting local culture and language, and enhancing digital representation and security. Geographic gTLDs can be operated to showcase the names of iconic destinations, such as Easter Island in Chile or Mexico's Riviera Maya. Other TLDs could be used to denominate agricultural or wine regions, or even a denomination of origin, which can be leveraged for economic development and tourism and business purposes. The options are truly limitless. The last type of gTLDs I'll highlight are the ones that reflect local languages and scripts. ICANN offers the ability to use more than 24 different scripts in TLDs through what is called internationalized domain names, or IDNs. By incorporating characters from different scripts, IDNs allow people to use domain names and email addresses in their preferred script, giving you the ability to reach visitors and residents more directly in their local language. If you want to reach local customers, you can access If you want to reach local customers or general internet users in your local language, or target new audiences around the world, an IDN could be an innovative tool to help you achieve your goals. On the new gTLD program website, you can access a wide range of use cases that cover all the different types of gTLDs I just described. The use cases cover questions such as what motivated you to apply for a new gTLD, and what were some of the considerations you made before applying, which may provide some interesting insights as you consider whether a gTLD is something for you or your organization to apply for. So you might be thinking now, this sounds like an interesting opportunity for my business, brand, community, or city. But what does it really mean to apply and operate your own gTLD? It is more complex than you may think. It requires a clear business strategy and commitment from your entire organization, from your marketing and legal departments to your IT and finance teams. Fortunately, the domain name ecosystem is a mature industry. That means that there are many resources, both technical and non-technical, available to help you determine if a gTLD is the right thing for you and best practices in operating one. gTLDs can be operated in a variety of ways, but there are two main ones. First, you can use a gTLD for organizational use, for example, to provide a secure internal system for your IT department. Or secondly, as a public-facing part of your brand, organization, or business. A gTLD can also be used to generate revenue growth. If, for example, you applied for, let's say, .startup, you could charge end users who want to register a domain name with your gTLD. As these examples highlight, operating a gTLD opens a world of opportunities. If you are considering running a registry, there are many aspects that you need to think about: technical, financial, as well as regulatory. Registry operators play a key role within the internet ecosystem. They keep the master database of all domain names that are registered in each top-level domain and generate what is called the zone file that allows computers to route internet traffic to and from TLDs anywhere in the world. At the heart of all this is the technical responsibility and capability to operate a gTLD. This is, after all, a piece of technical infrastructure that you'll be operating. If your own organization doesn't have the technical capabilities to run a gTLD, These services can be outsourced to well-established and technically tested providers, which are called registry service providers. ICANN actually runs a separate program as part of the overall new gTLD program that is called the Registry Service Provider Evaluation Program, or RSP program, through which these providers are evaluated to ensure that they meet the technical standards and requirements to support a gTLD. If you are considering applying for a gTLD, you are not alone. ICANN is estimating, and this is purely for planning purposes, that similar to 2012, we may receive around 2,000 applications from across the world. There is a comprehensive process in place to assess and approve new registry operators. Because you're applying to operate a gTLD, there is a rigorous application and evaluation process to ensure that applications and applicants are thoroughly vetted and that gTLDs are added, or as we call that, delegated, in a safe and secure manner. As part of the application process, applicants will be asked to respond to a set of questions that focus on the organization that is applying, questions that will allow assessment of the financial and operational capability of the applicant, and then a set of application-related questions that focus on the application and string type. And string is basically the same here as the TLD name, so the part that's on the right side of the dot. Depending on the type of application, then there are specific questions that need to be answered if, for example, your application concerns a community or a brand TLD. In certain cases, support or permission may also be needed. For example, in the case of a geographic name application, the applicant will need to provide evidence that they have the support from the relevant government or public authority to apply for and run that gTLD. For applications, there is an evaluation or application fee that needs to be paid, which has been set at $227,000 US. This price point ensures that the program is fully funded, revenue neutral, and not subsidized by existing contributions from ICANN funding sources. And again, this is kind of dictated by the ICANN community. The application process is extensive and thorough to make sure applicants have the operational, technical, and financial capabilities necessary to operate a registry and that they can comply with contractual obligations that follow. Depending on the type of application, for example, if you are a community applicant or a .brand, additional costs may apply if there are additional evaluations that are applicable. It is also important to note that there are ongoing financial and technical obligations in order to run a gTLD, even after a successful application. At that point, an applicant will sign what is called a registry agreement with ICANN, which outlines the contractual obligations that a successful applicant, who will then become a registry operator, will have as they operate their gTLD. Finally, here are some important dates you may want to take note of. As I've mentioned before, the window for applications is expected to open on the 30th of April 2026 and will remain open for 15 weeks through 12th August 2026. It is important to note that these dates mark the start of the evaluation process. To go a little bit into the weeds, after the application window closes and ICANN has confirmed that it has received payment, all the applied for gTLDs, or as we refer to them, strings, and public portions of the application will then be publicly posted on what we're calling Reveal Day. This then gives a small window of opportunity for those who may want to change to their replacement string, which is an option that's provided, if they find themselves, for example, in contention or prefer to go with that alternative string. After that, the final list of applied for gTLDs and applicants are then confirmed on what we're referring to as string confirmation day. This then marks the start of the string evaluation phase, in which the string itself needs to go through a number of evaluations, such as string similarity review, which assesses whether the string is visually similar to another string, which may create end-user confusion. It also marks the start of the community input period, which allows the public at large to provide their input or concerns about the applied for gTLDs, which are then factored into the evaluation process by the relevant evaluators. Following the string evaluation phase, if a string is not in contention and does not need to go through contention resolution processes, applicant and application evaluation starts. For the applicant evaluation, this means that background screening and an evaluation of the financial capability of the applicant takes place. After an applicant successfully completes this stage, they will then move on to contracting, following which their TLD will be delegated. And I know that's a lot of detail, but that's all to illustrate that submitting an application is just the first step of the process. We currently estimate, and that's again based on our estimation of receiving 2,000 applications, that first delegations could take place as early as Q1 2028. So the 2026 round applicant guidebook is also available on the program website, both in PDF and HTML formats. It's available in Arabic, Chinese, English, French, Spanish, and Russian. It may be helpful to point out, though, that applications must be submitted in English. The guidebook is the authoritative manual for any entity, brands, community, geos that want to apply for a gTLD. It gives interested parties an overview of the application questions and requirements. Furthermore, it will lead readers through application submission and evaluation processes. It will basically give you all the information you need to know in order to apply. ICANN has also published several resources to help potential applicants navigate the process from preparing to apply to submitting an application through the various evaluations that applicants may undergo. Some of these resources include in-depth FAQs, high-level overview of topics in the applicant guidebook, and demonstration videos that will orient users to the TLD application management system, or TAMS, which is the online system that will be used to submit applications and support the evaluation process. Having just come back myself from the ICANN meeting in Mumbai, for those interested in learning more, I would like to encourage you to review the recordings and slide decks of the sessions that we organized there, which are really geared to assisting potential applicants in preparing for the application process, as well as addressing the many questions that they had. In closing, deciding to apply to operate a gTLD is something that should not be taken lightly. There is a lot of responsibility involved in managing a piece of the internet ecosystem. But I hope what I achieved here today is to showcase the opportunity that it could present for your organization, brand, business, or community. The internet is built on innovation and is always adaptive. I'm excited to see how the 2026 round of new gTLDs will expand the domain name system and all the creative and innovative ways that organizations from around the world will choose to use a gTLD. So before I leave you today, here's a quick recap of steps to take if you're thinking about applying for a gTLD. First of all, consider how would your organization use a gTLD? Having a clear strategy and a good understanding of how a gTLD would fit into your overall long-term business plan is critical. Just deciding whether to apply can already take some time and consultation. Second, find mentors and experts in the domain industry who can help you. We recommend checking out the Domain Name Association New gTL Resource Directory, which has a wealth of information available. Third, the best way to get an understanding of what is involved in the application process is to consult the 2026 round applicant guidebook. And finally, you can find the applicant guidebook and other valuable resources on the new gTLD program website, including program news and updates. So with that, I thank you for inviting me and for your attention. I believe we do have some time for questions. So happy to take those, although I may need some help on seeing who raises their hand.
Invisible questions. Invisible questions. No questions on YouTube. That's what I checked. Hi, how are you doing? Ok, imamo pitanje u prvom redu.
Hello, I'm Diana working for .rs.serb in Cyrillic or ccTLDs. I have a question regarding the matter of universal acceptance. I mean, we all know that there are technical impediments in order to use not only IDNs, but also gTLDs. I recently couldn't send an email to .space email address because Outlook wouldn't recognize it as a valid email address. So now we have a new round of gTLDs, and I believe that we still have some struggles pending in terms of universal acceptance implementation, I mean full implementation. And now we also speak about basically IDNs, I mean gTLDs, which are written in using different characters from languages around the world. So what is ICANN's perspective on this matter? I mean, whether this new round would maybe help to push further with a full universal acceptance implementation, or it will just leave the status quo and we'll have more domains around the world. So, thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much for raising that. And just to emphasize that universal acceptance is an important priority for ICANN. We have a team that is dedicated to that area of work. We believe that the new gTLD program provides indeed for that additional opportunity to put that message out of the importance of universal acceptance. The applicant guidebook itself includes as well guidance for applicants and reminders to work, because again, it's not only something that ICANN has within its control, it's where we need to work with partners and others in the ecosystem to raise awareness and make sure that systems are set up in a way to accept different scripts. So I think that's also where we count on everyone here to kind of help keep beating that drum and getting that message out. But it's an important priority. We have a team that's dedicated to it, as said, as part of our mission of digital inclusion, under which also the new gTLD program falls. We also put out the message on the importance of universal acceptance. And maybe also worth mentioning, I didn't highlight it here, but IDNs were obviously already available in the 2012 round, but this is also the first time that one can apply for variants. I think that's a concept that exists in some languages and scripts, in particular, I think Chinese and Arabic. There was a work needed from the community to make that possible, also technically, and that now work has completed, which means that for the first time, we're also able to expand into that area, again, enhancing the ability of supporting different languages and scripts, which needs to go hand in hand with the work on universal acceptance.
Thank you. Any more questions? Da li ima još pitanja za Mariku? Evo ovde. Ako ostane ruka, samo da vas pronađe mikrofon.
Yeah.
Ništa
Working?
To.
Yeah, thank you very much for your presentation. And I'm Igor Mocin, I'm a lawyer, and I'm a member of the IPC, part of the GNSO at ICANN. And I wasn't in Mumbai, unfortunately, but I was following the conference remotely. And my question is about, the numbers, and you said that the estimate of the new applications is around 2,000. And I guess it's a total number, if I'm correct. So it includes .brand, .geo, and .community. Do you have any estimates for .brands applications for the new round, if any? Thank you.
It's a very good question, and I think I always joke it's kind of the $1 million question. Anyone who has a crystal ball and can tell me, I would be extremely grateful, because obviously for us, knowing the number helps us plan our work and what we need to be prepared for. So the 2,000 number I reference is purely our estimates based on our 2012 experience on the numbers that we'll receive. This is not informed by applications that we know will be coming in or information that community members may have shared. This is purely, again, for our own planning purposes. Having said that, obviously, in our conversations with communities and panels we've organized, that question always comes up. And I have to admit, the numbers are sometimes wide-ranging from 500 to 20,000. But I think most reasonable estimates seem to sit somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000. So the 2,000 number, and that was around the same number that we received applications for in 2012, translated into around 1,200 TLDs. Because again, there's some applications that may be for the same string and that are in contention. Obviously, only one party can be delegated the string at the end of the day. Some may decide that they don't want to proceed or are subject to objections and cannot proceed. So again, we've used for our estimation similar numbers. On the question of brands, and maybe I can just relay there, I was on a panel, I think on the CP Summit, where indeed a member in the audience also asked, like, what can we expect, from brands? Many brands in 2012 actually, discontinued the string that they had applied for and were awarded, didn't continue with it. And I thought the response that one of the panel members provided was very interesting. Their view was that in 2012, there may have been quite a few defensive registrations where brands didn't really know the opportunities that gTLD could offer and may have applied just in case, and then resulted in not knowing what to do with it and discontinue it. It was also pointed out that for brands, this could be the same thing as a product. You launch a product, see if it works. If it doesn't work, you move on to your next product. So that may also be another way in which brands could use it. But the view of those on the panel was that brands have now a much better understanding of what a gTLD can offer. So if they decide to apply, it's a well thought through strategy that they implement, which may still result in a certain time period for the gTLD or a longer term strategy for their brand. And I think, as I mentioned before, one of the observations that was made as well, it's really important to have support across your organization for your application, because some of the gTLDs that we've seen kind of fail or not continue were the result of one person in the organization advocating for the gTLD, going through the process, managing the whole application process. But as soon as they left the organization, no one knew what to do with it. So again, it's really important as well that it's a well thought out strategy and buy-in from across the team to make sure that the TLD is successful. So I don't think that addresses your question, but I said, if you have a better guess, I'm happy to hear from you or others what you expect in this round.
Ok, da li možda imaš neko pitanje za Mariku? Ili bi to bilo sve? And I think that will be all. Thank you, Marika, once again. Let's hear it for Marika Konings.